We have our first guest interview today. Again, I'm your host, Laura Max McDonald, with my co-host,
Amadeo Fusca.
And we are coming to you live from Los Angeles and New York. We have our absolute first guest today, Caleb Castille. He is a series regular on NCIS LA and on CBS. And he played college football at Alabama, where he very casually tells us in this episode how he played with Julio Jones under Nick Saban. And he's freaking awesome. I'm so excited for you guys to hear this interview. Here we go.
Rad Max Podcast. Rad Max Podcast. Rad Max Podcast. Rad Max Podcast. Rad Max Podcast.
Yes. Okay. Listen, we're going to get started. You guys, welcome to the Rad Max Podcast. We have our very first guest who I'm so excited to have on our podcast. This is Caleb Castille.
Hey guys, golf clap, right?
Yeah. I didn't even reintroduce my co-host, Amadeo Fusca.
Thanks, I'm here too.
And I am
Amadeo.
The other co-host, Laura Max McDonald of Rad Max Vintage. Thank you so much for being our very first guest.
Hey, listen, I'm glad to be here. I'm honored. This is going to be such a blast. It's like I could talk all day about anything, but you bring me in about sports and clothes, like, let's go.
Yeah, I did think you were going to say, like, I can talk all day about myself. I'm ready.
It would be funny if you'd be like, I can talk all day. Then you took like a 2-minute pause to figure out what you're going to say next. I can talk all day.
All day.
All day. Okay,
you
so
know
Caleb.
What I mean.
Caleb, I want to just tell everyone how we know each other before we talk about how fantastic of a person you are on your own, as you know. So
flattery.
The first time Caleb and I met was at our mutual friend's Super Bowl party, which was Rams versus
Patriots.
Patriots, right? Yeah. Oh, that was such a boring game.
Best game ever. Was it 13-3?
That was the most boring game. Like everyone was watching it. And on the West Coast, the game starts at 3. We were all falling asleep.
Not to interrupt, but it was the worst Super Bowl ever. But I watched it in the sickest way possible. I was in Vegas at Dre's nightclub. Like Snoop Dogg was there. Method Man performed. Everything was free. My cousin had a hookup. It was like the sickest way to watch a Super Bowl, but it was the worst game ever. But sorry, continue.
No, that absolutely sounds insane.
Oh, it was insane, dude. It was free massages, free food everywhere. Have you ever been to Dre's in Vegas?
Yeah.
No. You've been there,
massage.
Right?
God damn
Sick.
It.
It was the sickest way to watch a game. I won a few $100 too, but
he got the hookup. We'll get that information after this.
Yeah,
I'll be in Vegas this summer with him. Hey, Amadeo, Snoop Dogg wants to talk to you.
Oh wait, did I say Snoop Dogg? My bad. Dennis Rodman and Method Man. Dennis Rodman was taking a picture. I don't know why I confused Dennis Rodman and Snoop Dogg, but
Dennis Rodman is even better than Snoop Dogg. That's amazing.
I have the funniest Dennis Rodman story ever.
And he told me, because Dennis Rodman was like a line of people like getting pictures with him and maybe getting some autographs. And he told me Rodman's doing that because he owes a casino so much money. So they do favors like this all the time. I mean, he was telling me stories how Bruno Mars will come in, they'll give him like, he'll owe the casino like $1 million or $2 million, then he'll just do a show or something to just pay it off. Stuff like that. He tells me like the inside scoop because he works for at the I forget if it's called the AT&T or Verizon Center, the new arena down there.
Oh yeah.
He is like president of operations over there of hospitality operations. So anyways, he gets all the scoop about stuff, but he gets invites to all the cool parties too.
That's so dope, man.
Anyways, how'd you two meet?
Yeah, what's cooler than
wait, me and Dennis Rodman or me and Laura?
Wait. Let's hear about your Dennis Rodman story. Let's just jump into it. Who cares about how we met?
Oh.
I care. It was important for me.
Yeah.
Last summer I was down in Fort Lauderdale, and it was like during it's like pandemic, but like Florida's like, what pandemic,
Yeah. They had no idea.
No idea what was going on. So, I went down and I was spending some time with some friends, and it was like me and my my ex sister-in-law. Her and my brother got divorced, but we're still super cool. And we're walking around like downtown Fort Lauderdale, and she's like, we're walking, and she's like, I think that's Dennis Rodman. I'm like, yeah, no way, whatever. Like, we keep on walking, and then all of a sudden, some girl's like, hey, I love your pants. And I turn around and I'm like, holy shit, that is Dennis Rodman. And his girlfriend just complimented me on my pants. Turn around. So we go back and I'm like standing there like in awe. I'm like, holy crap, you're Dennis Rodman. He's like, yeah, man, what's going on? I'm like, nothing, just out here. What's up with you, man? The funniest thing ever was that his girlfriend kept continuing to like compliment me on the pants and different weird things like that.
It's the best way to meet a celebrity when they're like obsessed with you. Fuck. Okay,
exactly. And then he's like, go ahead.
No, not to take too much. I actually roasted Dennis Rodman at the Friars Club like 7 years ago. Yeah. And I met him the night before at some strip club. I randomly happened to be in the night before I was roasting him. And he was so cool. He just kept saying, say whatever you want, say whatever you want. And the only reason I went to that strip club is because my brother came in town for the roast and his buddy dragged him there. And he was begging me to come because Rodman happened to be there.
Oh, that's the only reason.
I'm telling you, that's the only reason. I'm telling you. Because he was like, I'll pay. I was so cheap too. He was like, I'll pay your cover. I was like, all right, fine. But no, I roasted him at the Friars. You can see the video. It's like insane. John Sally was there. But the funny thing is, John. I roasted him. He was so cool. He loved all my jokes. I said the craziest things. I came out as Kim Jong-un because it was after he came back from Korea. It was a couple weeks after he came back from Korea. Oh, yeah. It was amazing. But then when I saw him at Drea's, you know what I mean? I just said hi to him real quick or whatever. He could barely remember that roast. Sure. It was like 5 years prior or whatever. But he was so nice when I met him. He's just so huge.
Dude, he's the nicest dude. He's so freaking tall. And then the funniest thing was like, it's like you're having a conversation and obviously your mind's in the conversation, but like my eyes were wandering and I noticed that he had 2 flip phones identical out on the table. And we were like, that's kind of interesting. Wow. And then one rings and like the girlfriend like stops everything she's doing and picks up the phone. I'm like, it was like the most bizarre situation I've ever seen.
What did she say when she picked it up? Like Dennis Rodman's hairstyling? Like,
yeah.
She just picked it up and like walked off and like he kept on talking and he was like low key like flirting with my sister-in-law. And I was just like, it got to the point where I was like, really, it was like, wow, this is really, really cool. This is Dennis Rodman. And I was like, wow, this is really weird. And we need to like leave, but he's still like talking. And it's like, how do you cut off a celebrity that's trying to talk to you and all that stuff?
Yeah.
But no,
so you're like, are we going to be best friends or should I just continue?
Exactly. Like
life?
which one of those flip phone numbers are you going to give me?
Which phone am I going in? Phone 1 or phone 2? That's funny.
Wow.
Legit sat lines, like legit, like probably direct line to North Korea.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
oh my God.
How'd you two meet?
Listen.
Super Bowl party.
Super Bowl
Patriots,
party, Patriots Rams, most boring game in the history of all Super Bowls. And then we hadn't talked for a long time. That was, 2 years ago. And
at least 3.
Okay. So 3. Wow.
Yeah.
And then Caleb came into my pop-up and I just see this handsome fellow looking around. And of course I was like, hello, do you like sport? What are your teams? And finally, I think it was actually after, because you were like specifically asking about certain teams. And then I looked in your eyeballs and I was like, wait a second, what's your name? And you're like, Caleb. And I was like, I know those eyeballs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So, we know each other, but not very well, which is this is the exact moment that I want to know everything about your life. How exciting. Amadeo, you get to experience it.
I know. And this is, you meet so many cool people just through the Rad Max stuff too.
Yeah, I really,
he's wearing
have.
One of your Rad Max sweaters right now.
I know he's wearing a super cool 1980 Los Angeles Raiders Artex crew neck. It looks so good on you. And I'm sure that you've noticed this before, but there is something funny. Artex came out with this line in the late 80s called Now for Ladies, as if like ladies weren't able to wear the stuff before.
That's awful.
Wait, sorry. I don't know if you know that, but it's on your tag of that shirt.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Oh my God. He's like, I can't wear it ever again. I'm not a lady.
Yeah.
It's 2021. There's no rules. But
no. I was just saying that it was like they finally were like, okay, ladies, you can wear our stuff.
Yeah.
Ladies might be interested in paying attention to this man thing.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, I'll be straight up with you right now. Like, I don't know, Amadeo, if you feel like this, but like I have like, are you into fashion at all, Amadeo? Like, do you kind of like, what do you What's your thing? Like
lately I've been shopping at Banana Republic trying to step my game up a little bit.
Listen, hey brother, look, Banana Republic got some good pieces, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, But I dress nice when I need to. But yeah.
And this is my next question. And if you're ever like curious about what looks good, or if you're wondering about a pair of jeans, shoes, shirt, whatever, it's like I've always like asked women those questions. So like I feel like my entire style, like from my whole life, has been like built off of like women's opinions. And you know what I mean? Like so half of my inspiration or more, I would say, like on my Instagram, the accounts that I follow are girls that like are almost tomboyish in how they dress. Like,
interesting.
They love like the vintage garbs and different sneakers and different stuff like that. Because a lot of guys that throw stuff together, I really do feel like they don't take the time to really be creative with it. They kind of see, oh my God, this dude did this, or this mannequin that I saw in this really cool store had this. When the women are the ones that are dressing the mannequins.
You are leaps and bounds ahead of us fashion-wise. Amadeo was like, I just learned about Banana Republic here in 2021. I saw an Instagram ad about it while I was in the pandemic in my underwear.
Mannequins, I've spent thousands of dollars off of mannequins because everything I've ever bought, I'm like, can I just have this whole mannequin, please? I love it. I'm such a mannequin hog.
And I'm like, I have absolutely no fashion sense. My fashion sense is literally from like movies that I watched as a child. And like now that I have this business, it's just like, I always want to dress like I'm from the 80s and the 90s. Like I want big shoulder pads, 100%. Small little crop tops, things that fit over my large butt. Like,
same.
Large butt.
My huge butt. Caleb. So, but I have no fashion sense. And this is such me just once again bragging about my new apartment, but I have this new apartment that I have to decorate myself. And in a similar way, I'm like, I have no idea, how do girls put things together? People have like knickknacks and paddywhacks and give the dog a bone thing sitting on their I'm like, I just got a plant. So I'm like a little bit farther behind you, following fashion people that style men. It's brilliant. Brilliant.
I just, from a very young age, my dad was always persistent about like, the first impression is the only impression. And I'm always want to be presentable, whether I'm at freaking Trader Joe's or I'm going to the Golden Globes. Like, you gonna get this fit. You gonna see this fit.
That's incredible.
I don't know.
That's amazing. And also you always look great. And also thank God, while you're saying all these things about fashion, you're wearing something that I sold to you.
I love your female sweatshirt. Now for women. Now for her.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's
now
so
for her. That's so funny.
We were talking about this in the first episode that like a lot of people, because I'm selling the stuff, a lot of people come up to me and they're like, oh, is there men's stuff here? I'm like, it's sports apparel. Like, first of all, it's sized and made for men, but it's unisex. It's 2021. Get your head out of your tuchus. And like, it's for everyone. What do you want from me? Like, why do you think this jacket is made for a woman? Because I'm a woman. It's too many steps behind where we are in this world. Anyway.
Lines are still just.
Yeah. Very small. Very unexpanded. I've had an entire glass of wine.
Ooh, I'm almost there.
I like that you drink out of a plastic cup.
Yeah,
see, I'm college cup.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a Bama boy through and through. Shout out my guys.
Yes.
Let's in Tuscaloosa.
Listen, if we can get them to sponsor this episode, I will talk about them forever.
Yeah. Honestly, we could get them to do that. So my boys, obviously, they run the joint. This is home of I feel like every college has its own traditions. One of our traditions in college was a drink that's named after the Alabama state bird called the yellowhammer. So we have a drink at Galette's called the Yellow Hammer, and it does just that.
It just gets you hammered in the face. And this is a bar. So Caleb went to University of Alabama where he played football, and he is drinking wine for our listeners out of a plastic red cup. That is from, and he's like, I'm a really big wine drinker. And he's drinking it out of a plastic red cup to prove to the fans that he is a true Bama football player and true Bama college student through and through.
That's it.
So Galette's in Tuscaloosa, that cup is for them. So are you drinking the Yellow Hammer right now out of that cup? You're drinking
I would never attempt to make a Yellow Hammer. I feel like I would just be disrespect to the great brewers of the Yellow Hammer. But Yellow Hammer is like 100% concentrate, like pineapple juice, and then like every liquor you could think of. It's like an Alabama Hunch Punch, but it tastes amazing, and it makes for a great game day drink.
Oh, of course.
And so this fall, I will definitely. We do like some Bama game day parties in LA.
And you know who will be there? This girl. Can't wait for
it. Do you need a sweatshirt?
No, I will not come and sell. I will wear the thing. And if someone buys it off my body, it is what it is. But I will invite myself aggressively to every party that you throw.
And that's fine.
Without shame.
The invitation stands.
Amadeo with that.
Yes, Amadeo will come as well. And we'll all
I'll be there. I'll fly out for it.
Yes, it would be worth it, to be honest with you. But anyway, University of Alabama, played football there for 3 years. 4th year, decided, wow, this isn't for me. Let me figure out what I want to do with my life before I graduate. Had no idea that I would someday be on CBS's biggest network show as a lead and all this crazy stuff. Because when I was like, got done with ball and I was like, what do I want to do? The only thing I knew how to do was be athletic. And my brother at the time was doing these commercials. And he was like, yo, bro, like, dog, you know how much you can get paid doing a Nike commercial per day? And I'm like, I don't know, like a few $100. He's like,
no.
Again, Nike only pays you a few
so
hundred.
much.
Right? Yeah. And he's like, dude, like, nah, bro, like the day rates can range between like $1,500 and $3,500 plus like these residuals at the time, which I had no idea what a residual was. I knew it meant like ongoing or whatever, but I'm like that. It just piqued my interest. So what
wow, the art, the
I got piqued.
creation.
I saw dollars.
No, it was Nike day rates.
It was Nike day rates, and I was like, yo, yeah, I could do that while I'm still in school. I was like, so basically, like, I was trying to graduate my senior year. I was taking like 18 credits. I was like helping manage a gym at the time in Tuscaloosa. So like I had my hands full, but like I just feel like being a student athlete and being raised the way I was, I'm like, I just got to get it. That's why like time, like right now, like during hiatus, like I have to fill my day with stuff. Yeah. So, I told every young actor this, or actor, young and old, that wants to get into this business. First of all, I tell them don't. and then you want to be an actor, kid? Don't. and then the second thing that I say is like, yo, just be proactive. So like, I mean, everyone, I think at some level wants things to just be handed to them. You know what I mean? Like none of us really want to work. Right. And it's, so at the time I was like, I got all these resources at my fingers, mainly Google. So I'm like Googling like how to become an actor.
Yeah.
Or like how to get an agent. Cause my sister-in-law at the time was like, I think you need an agent for that. And I think you need what they call headshots. So I'm like, okay, cool. Headshots, get those done by a guy back home in Birmingham. And then, and I was kind of familiar with headshots because I had done like some print work like in high school, just kind of like for like local companies like in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got the headshots done, I was like, okay, like I need some sort of cover letter or some type of resume or whatever. So I typed that up like, hi, my name is Caleb and I played college football and I like to, so I did that whole thing and I just sent it out to like every agency that I could drive to. So it was like from Tuscaloosa, I just had like this map. I was like, okay, Louisiana, like Nashville and Miami if I really need to, and New York
really
if I really need to.
Damn.
Yeah, and I sent that thing, I kid you not, to like, it had to be like 25 different agencies. I'm like, somebody's gonna take this bait.
Yeah.
And not even kidding you guys, not even 24 hours later, the president of this agency in Nashville, Tennessee, reached out to me. He was like, yo, dude, like, I just love your story. And I love that you had the courage to like reach out and like, just reach out to us, whatever. He's like, can you come up here next week? Like, I think you would be awesome. So I'm like, oh yeah. And we go up and we meet with the agent who's still on my team now. His name's Mark Block, and he runs a block agency out of Nashville and out of Denver as well. It's like full blown acting, modeling, all that type of stuff, whatever.
Dude, I work with sorry to interrupt. I that's my Southeast agent, Mark Block.
Really?
What?
Yeah. I met an associate of his when I
crazy.
did a show in Denver, and then he started working with Block, and he gets me like 4 or 5 things a year, but he's a super nice guy. Yeah, I'm in New York, so I'm not Southeast, but that's.
But I mean, Mark is the dude that's like, he's like, I talk to he's like, hey, Amadeo. He's like, listen, there's this thing like in Atlanta, but I got this buddy, like you could stay and they can hire you locally, and like, you know what I mean? He's gonna work it out, like. He's going to get you that job. He's going to make sure that you're comfortable. He's going to, like, when I got my agents here, bro, I was like, yo, these dudes, like I would say now that it's not like that. But like when I first got out here, it was kind of like, you're kind of like a trinket on a shelf. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
You're here to make money and you're here to make money. And then when the more money you make, the higher you go on the trinket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Still a trinket. And so anyways, Mark was that type of agent that's like, anytime I drove or flew out to a job, he's like calling before I get on the plane, calling when he knows I landed. I'm like, brother, how many phones and fingers do you have? Like
he's obviously Dennis. That's what Dennis Rodman is doing on his flip phones.
Mark Block's got 2 flip phones.
He's like, Mark Block, yes, I'm so sorry. I did just land. Let me call you back.
That's funny.
Amadeo, that's such a small world, man. But Mark is how I got my start. Wow. Mark sent me my first audition, which was the craziest story ever for my first film, called Woodlawn. It's a period piece. And I'll be honest with you guys, the transition between like doing those commercials and like and the crazy story of me booking that film, like I was never like, I want to be, like Denzel Washington or, or Sidney Poitier, all these greats. Like, I think
you were like, I want to make Nike money.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to make my way, like get out of my parents' house and figure out what I want to do. And that's honestly where it started. But the first job I did where I was like, yo, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I kid you not. It was a country music video. And I was just like doing background stuff. And right?
Yeah.
And I remember to this day, it was like 150 degrees on this rooftop. And I'm like out there. I don't even like country music. And the guy's song, it was a catchy song, but whatever. But I was out there, and the coolest part of it, or what I really got to see, was just like, for some reason, like, I mean, coming from football, like when I was on set, I just saw it. I just identified with every moving piece in every person's job as like a football team.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, this is a team. And it's, you know, this collaborative art form that I am so in love with now is like so beautiful in the fact that like when it works well, it works very well, you know, and how the director is just kind of like the head coach, you know what I mean? And how he just kind of directs everyone to where they need to be. And so, and so for me, I was just like, holy crap, like I fit in here. I don't necessarily know where, but you know, I know that I definitely have a very, very strong desire to explore this space. And at the time, like I said, it's like getting, you know, you're still in school, you're doing, you know, you're trying to just figure out who you are at that point in life. You're 22 years old, like you don't know anything. No. So it's like I went from there and just kind of built, you know, it's like from being, you know, featured background to doing some extra work. Like I was driving at 3 a.m. from Tuscaloosa to Nashville to go to just like commercial auditions. To stand in there, you know how that is.
Oh yeah. I was doing that. It's so funny. Like I went to school in upstate New York, and I decided senior year that I was going to try acting, and I got my headshots done over Christmas break. And then I was driving like every weekend to New York to do auditions. And I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, but I was like,
and I had no money. I was like barely making like every dollar I'm spending on like these gas trips. I remember specifically like one night being like in the middle of Tennessee, or one early morning and being in the middle of Tennessee. And I'm like, calling my dad. I'm like, Dad, I have no money on my debit card. Like I'm trying to get to this audition and, you know, in Tennessee and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, like my dad is such a hero in my story and in my journey, because you know, you take a guy that played professional football for 8 years, was an All-American, played for arguably the greatest coach ever at Alabama, Paul Bear Bryant, like winning national championships, raising 6 kids, you know, 2 of his boys played NFL like him. Like, you know, when I told him that I didn't want to play football my senior year, like that I wasn't going to pursue playing in the NFL, he basically was like, you know, whatever your dream is, you got to find it. And like, I can't impede in that. Like, I can't touch that. Like, I'm hands off. Like, you know, before you're God's creation, before you're my son. So whatever his destiny is for your life, like you got to go do that. And I was so fortunate to have a dad that like supported me in this. And so that's why you buy him brand new cars when you.
I know. I was going to say, man, you got to tell the story how you bought him a car.
Yes. Why don't we take a quick moment to tell that story that you told us before about your dad's 60th birthday?
Yeah. So
I just sounded so New York birthday. Jesus, a little bit of wine in me. Huh?
What happened?
Okay. Tell us.
That's so good. So yeah, I had a few things written down that I really wanted to do that I was manifesting and kind of praying over, like when, like, you know, there's obviously different levels to this business, and being like super transparent, like network TV is like getting drafted to the NFL.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't know how much money was in TV at all. Like you book these guest stars and that's cool. And like, you know, like there's so many levels to this thing where I remember being like, holy crap, top of show? What?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
way better than that Nike money, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, you know, Nike need to step their game up. And then, you know, it's funny, like during negotiations for this job, I have buddies that are, you know, been series regulars on series and different things like that. But like, you know, you don't really talk to details of like,
you're not like, hello, I'm a series regular and I make this much money. Sorry, you're not. Sorry, you're still doing co-stars, Laura. It's fine.
You know, it's fine. You know,
everything's fine. My mom's still very proud of me. Thank you.
My mom still loves my co-star episodes.
No, my mom's like, you should be in this. Go. Okay. Yeah.
No, but no, really, that it's such a true thing, and I think that like the integrity of the art has to remain, and also your humility as an artist has to remain.
Yeah.
And I know, and I understand why, and it's because I just feel like sometimes a comfortable artist is not a good artist. And when we were talking through like these numbers, I'm like, you know, he comes back to me with the first number and he's like, yeah, they came to us with this, but I countered with this. I'm like, whoa.
Don't fuck it up, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
The first one was great. Like,
Let's do that.
He's like, I'm like, what's wrong with the first number?
Right.
He's like, no, man. You got to show these people, you know, what you're worth, and you got this under your belt. Working through all this
what a great
part.
agent. What a great agent.
Yeah.
Great agent. And, you know, working through all of that, I just encourage every actor and every artist to really be a business mind first before you're an artist, because this business is not structured. They don't give a crap about the artistry.
No, not
they
at
don't.
all.
They're like,
100%.
Look at this beautiful, shiny thing. How much money do they got?
Yeah.
That's what they care about. So it's
such a business. I mean, and also like the amount of money that these studios spend on shows is so beyond my comprehension, especially like when you think about all the money that the studios are spending on pilots that get made and all the sets that get made, and then they never go to, they just get thrown in the garbage. It's like, it's so beyond my capacity for my brain, and I'm so involved in the world, but like, it's crazy. So I'm glad your agent fought for what you're worth so much, because especially a show like NCIS LA that's going to run for so many years, you got to get your worth because the network knows it's successful. So it's not like the show is going to lose money. The sets are already done. All the production stuff is already set in stone. So like, you coming on as a late series regular is so huge.
Yeah, I literally could not have been placed in a better situation, like all around, like top to bottom. So
can you tell us, I'm sorry to interrupt, can you tell us like what, because I think you were like a recurring guest star first?
Yeah. Okay. So how they structured the deal was basically they just needed like, you know, they were like, they brought me in for like a heavy recur, like on the back side of like the back 9 of season 11.
Okay.
And so the audience they could basically just test run the character.
Okay.
And what a lot of people don't realize about these deals, and then again, I'm being fully transparent with you guys, like what a lot of people don't understand about these deals is that like it's totally like contingent upon like the ratings and how the show is doing. Like, you know, if I had have came on for those 3 episodes, even though they signed me with an option to be the series regular and all that stuff, if I had came on and the audience was like, yo, this character is crap. Like, bro, he sucks. Right. Yeah. And like
back to Bama.
Now we're going get him out of here.
Exactly. It would have been like, you know what I'm saying? Like I would have been back to Nike commercials. But but you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's just nothing's guaranteed, man. And you just kind of like, no matter, you know, it's like the top 0.0001% of people in our business are really, really like, okay. Yeah. And so anyway, like, yeah, that's how it happened from recurring and to this point of like waiting, right?
Yeah.
You come off of that last, you know, 3 episodes, and then you're waiting for the network to say like, hey, we want to pick you up on this option. And that was from like, I guess like February to, they had until from the season end till June 30th is when like they had to give me an option. I mean, they had to give me an answer by then. So, and then plus we're in a pandemic.
Right. Yeah. Like what's filming. Yeah. And also like a lot of people that are not in the entertainment field have to understand that. First of all, if you are under some kind of contract like that, you are like not really allowed to take other jobs, right?
No. So you're basically sitting there. They pay you a certain amount of money, right?
To wait.
A hold fee.
Right.
Right. But they have first rights. So it's like you can't even audition for any jobs until you figure out, until they're like, hey, we're not going to pick up that option, or we are. Right. So like all of the jobs that I recur on a Hulu show called Wu-Tang and American Saga about the Wu-Tang Clan in New York.
So cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. But it's like I did that show before I booked CBS, but I wasn't a series regular on the Hulu show. So CBS has rights on my likeness as, and it's just like this weird total and it's crazy thing.
And like Wu-Tang has this interest in you. So CBS also knows, oh shoot, we could lose him to the Wu-Tang show. So we got to make a decision on this dude quick.
Yeah. And so that was a deciding factor. And it's crazy how you get to a point in this business where like, you read these things on Deadline and it's like, so-and-so drops out of whatever because it couldn't fit into his schedule. And you're like, asshole, like, what?
Like that, Dak.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can do the job, bro. What are you talking about? Yeah. And I'm not even kidding you. Like, I had a couple of projects this year, like while I was filming, where I literally had to they couldn't make the dates work because like I'm obligated to 8 months of NCIS Los Angeles. Wow. And it's like, but I really want to go do this movie, and it's like they need me for like 6 days, and they're like, yeah, well, sorry. Like
the reality is, when you make it to a level where you're at now, it's not, you can't just hop from set to set. It's it is still a little bit like, I can't
COVID.
Just like
right.
And
oh my
COVID,
God,
COVID, forget about it. Dude, we're talking about your work ethic and your hustle here.
Yeah.
It's kind of astonishing that, that after all this, your talent has obviously propelled you forward, that you actually had like an amazing talent for this too, to pick it up. So it's not just your work ethic and hustle. Obviously, then you also know how to deliver.
Well, it's crazy, Amadeo, because I like being in sports, like, you're trained and coached to take information and apply it and do it. And the best that do that the quickest, they play on Sundays, in what I was doing. And then our business, like I just had to apply that. So like, I'm on set for my first movie and I had to learn by experience, but what I had in my belt was the ability to be able to listen and execute. And there is this thing that all of us actors know, especially in comedy, like if you're doing improv or all that stuff, you got to trust the people in your troupe.
Yeah.
And you got to trust the people around you, that they know the game, that they know what's going on. And the same thing on a set. And I had to do that. I remember the director sat me down and he said, look, because at this point I had nothing more than a commercial under my belt and the background things. And he said, listen, I'm gonna put the best actors around you. And I just need you to just trust your scene partners, and I need you to trust me. And I had nothing to go off of. So I wasn't this kid coming on set that had all these terrible habits of, I'm standing in the mirror, I'm going to say my line like this, and he says this line like this. And
you had such a physical presence there. Yeah. I was just talking to my friend was visiting me from out of town. He's a football coach at Stanford. And he was saying like, I really push my team to go write poetry, to go to ballets, to watch theater, because there's nothing more important to an athlete to be empathetic to people and to be really present and to be able to be present and to listen and to give and receive feedback. I mean, you think about like, I listened to all these interviews with like football players and they're all like, there's so much psychology in it. It's like, I'm going to trick the quarterback. I was listening to an interview with Janoris Jenkins with Jack Rabbit. And he's like, it's psychology. I'm tricking the quarterback to make him think that I'm going some way. And he's so present as a defender to read what the quarterback is doing and what every single player is doing. I mean, it's exactly like acting. You're standing there, you're taking in the energy of everyone, and you're so present that you're giving and receiving in the way. And that's why I think so many athletes transition so nicely into entertainment, because it's acting and sports are so emotional and they're so present. It's like you're doing all this work behind the scenes, and then you get to set or you get to the game and it all goes out of your brain and you're just an animal responding to people.
Yeah. That, like, I literally could not have said it any better and actually like made the correlation because like there was one day on set where like if you guys have ever watched the show, like the times where, you know, we're in like our techie ops center, like everyone on the show hates those days because it's all this tech jargon, and it's like you're in this one room and the whole crew is around you and you're saying stuff that like doesn't make sense, and it's exposition, and you know the audience is like, let me grab my beer. They're in the room. You know what I mean? So it's like, but for me, it's the best, and it reminded me so much of just like being on the practice field, like during walkthroughs, like when it's all about like being in the right, knowing the play, knowing the call, knowing what you're supposed to do, knowing what you're supposed to read. You know, if he motions this way, then I do this. If he does this, then we go to this play. And it's all these things. And I was literally sitting there one day when I had 9 scenes in the tech room, and it was like 21 pages, something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like, how in the world am I doing this right now? Like, I literally had a moment like, how am I in this long thing, whatever, like talking about all this stuff, the stakes are here and all these different situations. And then I just thought back to football. I'm like, dude, you're in a stadium with 100,000 people.
Yep.
You're guarding a guy that is 4 inches taller than you, 30 pounds heavier, maybe, 0.2 of a second faster. You got 10 other people around you. And if you don't do your job, they can't do their job. And it's like all this crazy stuff. I literally was thinking like, how in the world do I know where the camera is? I know my line. I know the mark. I know where my light is, all this stuff. And you step in and you hopefully get magic. And so that's why I love this conversation of art and sports. And it's just, I don't know. It's just like, there's so many things in life that correlate, and yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I love that. And also I've been in this business in acting for 10, 11 years. And I really fell out of it because I fell out of love with it, but it's so nice right now, which, I do comedy stuff all the time. And I do stuff that makes me happy all the time. I still audition when people call me in, but I don't love it. And I'm so happy right now. Like, I have a bunch of friends that are now series regulars, and I'm like, thank God, these people are so talented and they love it so much. And I'm so happy to see the people that I was growing up with in the industry. By growing up, I mean from my early 20s, that are now getting these positions like you are in. I have a friend on a CBS show. I have a friend that's just booked the new Star Trek show. Do you know Melissa Navia? You know Melissa Navia, Amadeo? No, I don't know. No, she's part of my AGR family. All these people that are booking these big things, and I'm like, I'm so happy for you because I don't know. I'm just so happy. I'm so excited. That's amazing.
I think there's it's a business where I think you just discover a lot about yourself. And in that process, if you're rewarded with monetary value to just continue to discover yourself, that's really cool. And if not, it's like you got to find joy in life regardless, because no matter what industry you're in, you're not promised anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so people ask me all the time, like, what do you think like the key is? And I'm like, not quitting. You know what I mean? I'm like, if you really want something, whatever it is, like, you're not going to quit.
Yeah. You drive to Louisiana, you drive to Miami, you drive to Tennessee. You're like
That's
a perfect candidate for everybody because you played on the biggest stage, like Alabama playing in the biggest game in front of all these people. Like you've experienced the big stage and the big program, and so once you step on set, they know like, oh, we got a championship player here. In whatever he's going to do, he's going to bring that experience. He's going to bring that A game, that work ethic, and
yeah, I'll be honest with you, Amadeo. Like, dude, like my career at Alabama, like as far as an individual player, didn't go how I desired it in the moment, right? Being there, it's like the things that you cared about in high school, you get to college, you're like, yeah. Like whatever.
Right.
The things that were made you emotional, all that stuff. And I remember being at Alabama and like, a lot of people don't know this, but like I had scholarship offers that I turned down, like SEC scholarship offers that I turned down to go walk on at Alabama and earn a scholarship.
Wow.
Really? So I walked on. I was just a punching, tackling dummy for a whole 2 years,
Damn,
basically.
Dude.
Yeah. And it's like, getting roughed up by Julio Jones made me a man. I tell you all the time.
That's amazing.
Did you play with Julio? Wow, I guess you did.
Yeah, Amadeo's pants just fell off.
Oh,
okay. He's literally pants free right now.
Yo, that's so funny.
So you're the type of dude, man, just nothing can get to you, right? You just see everything as like a hurdle you're going to jump over.
Bro, or figure out if I'm going to go over it or around it or however, but that obstacle is going to serve its purpose. But like when I get down the road, I'm going to be like, holy crap. The 4 years that I spent at the University of Alabama in that excruciating mentally and physically environment, like it built me for this job.
Yeah.
Like, no director, network person, or anybody that I come in contact with is gonna cuss me out like Nick Saban did.
This is like such a weird panty wedding name dropping session. Another thing that I would like to ask you about is that I know your dad played in the NFL and he also played at Alabama. So you grew up with football in your childhood. And we didn't even finish the story of you and the gift.
Oh, the car.
We never finished that story.
I'll do this real quick. So,
you're right.
Long story short, here we go. All right. Couple things I wanted to do when I got booked for series regular and I was making more than Nike money, right? So
Fuck Nike.
Yeah. So
unless they want to sponsor this podcast.
Right, unless they want to sponsor this podcast, in which case I know Bobby Legay, thank you so much.
So like what I wanted to do was I just wanted to honor my parents and just the life that they lived in general, but also just like the servants that they've been in our community. And as being two black people growing up in the South and sticking with one another and beating the statistics, both of them coming out of the projects and being married for 37 years and all of these great things, whatever. So I was like, man, like, I just want to knock this first checklist off. First thing off the checklist, and that thing was like buying my dad a new car. And it just so happened that this show and this contract and all that stuff landed like right when he turned 60.
Amazing.
So I was like, man, I'm gonna get him a car. And I remember like I was home during Christmas break, like on our hiatus, and I was like, hey Dad, like let's go test drive some cars. And he's like, all right. Yeah, Sunday afternoon, we had some brunch and we just got out, we're just hanging, and I took him around to a couple of different dealerships and just to kind of see like what he liked. And honestly, like I just was in a space where I was like, there's so many times in my life as a kid, he was like, get what you want, whether it be like from the smallest thing of like going in a restaurant, even like as a kid, it's like, oh Dad, anything? Oh wow, the shrimp. You know what I mean? It's like, the shrimp on the menu.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just was kind of like, taking him different places. I was like, man, just like, what do you like? Like, not what you think is, yeah, this is a great car, and like, not like the dad.
Like, this will like go well with insurance, and also like it's got a great safety rating. Thank you, Honda.
Yeah. Like, dude, what do you want? Like, for the first time in your life, what do you want? Because as we all grew up and stuff, like he had the Mercedes and the BMWs from NFL and all that stuff. Then it turned to like Volvos and station wagons and minivans.
Yeah, and a Chrysler minivan, of course. Yeah.
Exactly. We had one. So he finally landed on this Lexus, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's good to know, blah, blah, blah. And I snuck home after his birthday, and I went and surprised him with it. I went and picked it up, the color and everything that he liked, and from the dealership. And I had this video, and I was like, man, Dad, I hate I can't be there for your 60th, like, but I really am so happy to be able to like give you your brand new car, blah, blah, blah. And
my heart.
And the coolest part, we were talking about this earlier, is that I had a vintage piece that I bought from you, Laura, and that vintage piece was from my dad's rookie year at Tampa Bay when he was a rookie, and he bought his mom a brand new house. And so things just kind of came full circle, and it's just amazing. And what's crazy is I didn't add this detail I forgot earlier, is the price that I paid for his vehicle was the same amount that was the down payment on the house.
Shut up!
Yeah,
really?
That was crazy. Yeah, because I remember standing in the dealership lot, and my dad is very like, he just had a very tough time kind of like dealing with like, wow, like, son, you don't spend this type of money, and well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that grows up without money is like very protective of anything that they make and anything that their children make. I mean, my dad's the same way. He's like, you have to bargain on your napkins. Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Anything.
My dad tells this story about my grandpa coming down to Tampa Bay his rookie year. He puts my grandpa up in this hotel. My grandpa's like lifelong military guy and built highways with his bare hands in South Alabama.
Amazing.
So brings my grandpa down, staying in this nice hotel. He walks in there. He's like, Jerry, how much this room cost? You know what I'm saying? He's like, Pop, just enjoy the room. He's like, no, how much it cost? And he's like, man, 2 days after him asking me how much that room costs, I finally told him, I'm like, Pop, this is $300 a night room. He was like, boy, get all this shit out of here. Grab the ironing board, the sheets, the shampoo, damn it, grab the refrigerator. He was like, grab all this shit. Get out of here.
Take the silverware, take the towels. Oh, yeah.
So far here,
Oh, that'd be such a funny character, man.
Right?
Oh, man.
Dude, Joseph Castille, bro.
Is that your
Joseph
grandpa?
Castille. Yeah, it's my grandpa. Joseph and Mary Castille, my grandparents. Yeah, man. And so my dad, being in that same vein of thought, he just was kind of like apprehensive towards receiving this gift from me. So I just had to go get that bad boy, pay for it, and drop it off.
Amazing.
So, and I was in the Rad Max Vintage, and it was sick.
I mean, I can't believe, I'm so glad, you were, when I first met you were looking for Broncos gear because your dad played in the 1988
he played for the Broncos as well,
Super Bowl. But before that, he played for the Bucks, and that was what the team he got drafted onto. And you bought a Bucks windbreaker, which looked so good on you. But that was the gift that you gave to your father, and it was from the same year of his rookie year, which was 1983, which is so crazy. And so cool.
Yeah.
I'm just so, I mean, like, this is truly my favorite part about having this company is how emotional and transcendent these pieces are. Like you get shot right, but you see my Hornets jacket, you know, hanging on the front of my basketball rack, and you're like shot back to the cafeteria of middle school. Or for you, especially like really growing up with NFL in your blood. I mean, you saw these pieces and were so taken with them. I'm
drawn
so
to
grateful.
it because the coolest thing about vintage is it all tells a story.
Yeah.
Shit you buy nowadays, pardon my language, stuff you buy nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, you could go in there, and I like different pieces, you know, like I'm not going to lie. Like I like going to Maxfield's and these high-end places, but like that stuff doesn't start conversation. It doesn't share a story.
Yeah.
And also that's like mass production stuff. You can't find, like, I'm not going to pass anybody with this on.
No,
unless it's
literally not. Unless it's unless it's an old woman who's a Raiders fan.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's why it's, you know, it's such a beautiful thing that you do on your side of things as far as just, you know, it's awesome.
Thank you so much. Amadeo is just plugging in his computer, by the way. He lost battery. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I am, you know, my I don't know if you know like the story of my business, which we don't need to get into, but it started by accident. And I literally like went to a bar and I was wearing a Giants sweatshirt. I had a Broncos sweatshirt on the table because I had lived in Boulder one summer. And someone bought the Broncos sweatshirt for $100. And I was like, I have more of these. So I just kept going back to the same bar and wearing sweatshirts. And actually like Zappy was there for maybe that first game. I call Matt Zappa to Zappy. So Zappy was there for that first game. Zappy! So Zappy was there for that first game. And then like, we kept going to bars and I would like make Zappy and his friend Ross and like all of his roommates wear shit. And I make all my girlfriends wear shit. And then we would just sell things off of our bodies until I was like too creepy about it and was like, hey, do you want to come to my car and see what else I have?
I know you've just bought this jacket off of my body. Come to my car and see what else.
And also, do you want to make out? And I'm just kidding.
There's a kiss in the deal.
It does help. But
that's so funny.
Yeah. So that was how the business started. And then it really grew so quickly. But, you know, I don't really truthfully don't really know where the end point is because selling vintage is so time consuming.
Sure.
So I don't know. Like, I think starting this podcast is so great because I want to talk to people about sports in their lives and I want to involve some sort of creativity. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's my new creative outlet since I'm so disenchanted with the acting world. In the best way, truly in the best way, in the way that I feel more in charge of my own life, which is what I always felt with acting until I got to LA.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, I think that I just kind of take, I don't know, like I'm kind of just like a faith person, but in that faith, there's a lot of proactivity. That's what makes it go. It's not necessarily you, but you can't create the result. You just have to trust for the result.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like you can create that energy that's just like, you know, man, like I know, like I can see like where I want to be. Okay, what do I think it's going to take for me to be prepared for when I get there?
100%.
You know, and I think that just works for everything in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There was actually an interview that I read or heard about, which I think was with Chris Rock, where he was like, entertainment with any job is the law of physics. An object in motion stays in motion. So you can't sit back when you're not working and do nothing. You have to do something and then it creates work. Yeah. And so I've always been in the way that you were when you started your acting career, where you were like, I want to do this. So I'm going to do 100 different things to see where the next lily pad is.
Yes.
And so with anything that I do, I'm always just putting my foot on a couple different puzzle pieces and seeing what the next step is. And so like, that's what happened with this company, and it's grown so big. And that's so what awesome. Hopefully will help happen with this podcast, and hopefully will happen with anything that everyone does, is like put your foot on the pedal and see what happens. And then I also, one of my other favorite things about acting is like, sometimes people, like I was talking to Amadeo about like who I wanted to invite on the podcast. And I was saying these like really big, cool names or like different like things. And I was like, how did I like meet that person? And just thinking about all the steps that have like happened in my life to bring me into contact with these different people. It's such a beautiful like sign of life. The people that are in my life, the people that I've connected with, the people that I have created relationships with through the company, through acting, through none of those things, through working in restaurants. Like it's all just, life is so great.
Yeah, it is. It honestly is. And
welcome back, Amadeo.
Yeah,
there he is. Pop back in. No problem, man.
Yeah.
You missed a whole lot, but it's fine.
Oh, sorry, buddy. You seem like you guys were like spiritually connecting. I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah, we were having a chat, man, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Let's jump into a question that we haven't quite hit. I mean, we talked about your dad, which is so awesome. Yeah. That gift that you gave him is amazing. Do you want to talk at all about like what it was like having because you weren't even born yet when your dad was in the NFL.
Yeah, I wasn't even born.
Oh my God.
I was a post NFL
un bebé.
Yeah. No, so I have 5 siblings, but so I'm one of 6, I'm number 5. But yeah, like me and my little sister weren't around. So we just got like best benefits.
Because your dad wasn't like playing 9 months a year or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't know football dad at all. But obviously everyone else did. Like some of my siblings were born in like different states, you know what I mean? Like
wow, yeah.
Just because of that. But yeah, I mean, for me, like my dad is just like handed down like so many different life lessons to me, and one of the things that I feel like has correlated so much during like the tough times in my acting career is like he always talks about like proactive waiting and working in the wait. And it's like
working in the wait.
It's like, dude, like I actually connected with this pretty cool studio here in LA that like they're huge advocates of that philosophy of like the work isn't about when you get the job.
Right.
That's like I got to a point and we shot 18 episodes this year, and usually we shoot like 22 or 24. So we got a shorter season, but like by like episode 8 or 9, you're like, I could do this. Like it's breathing.
Yeah.
Because not only the prep work that it took to get the job, and then now you're in the job and you're getting that many reps every day. And it's kind of like, so as an actor, it's all about like working in between those times and staying sharp. And that's where I remember in 2018, like me and my roommate at the time, shout out to Eli Gore. He's doing incredible. He played Eli. Yeah. He played Muhammad Ali in One Night in Miami.
Oh my God. I watched that last night, dude. The acting is unreal. That's your boy.
Yeah, that's my boy right there. And I saw that kid come into my apartment at the time as just somebody who had been just beaten and bruised by this business and and like didn't really know how to be like, I've been number 1 on a call sheet for a big movie. Like I did that twice before I met him. And so like, but I was never a trained actor. So it was the best dynamic of having this roommate that like, ever since he was probably like 7 or 6, he's been immersed in this business.
Right.
So Eli, very, very technical. Me, very, very feel. Like, I gotta feel it. It's like, the character does heroin. where's the needle? You know what I mean?
I gotta feel that needle.
I gotta feel it. You know what I mean? And Eli's like, you could just pretend. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, being in the same house with him,
Mm-hmm.
I just took what I had learned and we just created like this actors boot camp, like in our house. Like we lived in this apartment in Studio City and it's like, you know, it was an actor's apartment. It was just like beds and a kitchen and scripts and a light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like the living room is always set up for a self-tape /
Yeah. Yeah. People come in, it's like, yeah, don't mind that light and like all this stuff. You know?
Yeah.
But it was in that summer that everything kind of changed for me because like we just collaborated over that single idea of like, it's about the work. Like I would literally tell, if they sent me an audition that like I didn't have like more than 24 hours for, I would tell them like, nah, extend it or I'm not going in. And it's because like, I was just like devouring material. Like if I could not spend at least 2 days with it and do what I wanted to do with it and work my process with it, then, you know, if they're not willing to work with me on that, I don't want to work with you.
Wow.
My buddy I was with my buddy who, like literally I was with him at the bar in New York while he got like 12 pages, 2 huge scenes, a bunch of monologues for some new Amazon show pilot. And yeah, we were sitting there on a Tuesday night. He gets it at like 8:30 because it's LA time. He got it. And it was due Thursday at like noon Eastern time. And he was just freaking out like, bro, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like I'm getting like a day and I got to get a reader and I got to read all these monologues. He got it extended a little bit Thursday, but he was because, you know, he's just like you, man, or he's just like, you know, all of us. He just really wants to give his best. He wants
to work, bro.
Yeah. And he was just like, this is ridiculous.
It's
like
ridiculous.
I couldn't get more time for this.
Yeah. I mean, even when I get like an audition for like a few lines, I'm like, I do so much. Like I love dressing up. I love like working on accents. I love like building it. Yeah. And I wanted to, and also like, I don't work as often as other people. So our auditions for me are the fun part. Like I want to make my audition a full story. It's what acting is for me. So like, and when I get to do that is when I book the roles.
Listen, what I learned is auditioning is just as important as the job, if not more. Like it is a process that like, I love competition. And when I came to this business, I was like, sick. I get to do this a couple of times a week if I'm lucky. I'm about to eat you alive. Like I'm going in the audition room and I'm like a shark, like who's just freaking sniffed blood. And so for me, it's like what you were talking about, Amadeo, is like for your buddy, what I've learned at my level is that I had that luxury when I didn't have this job and I wasn't competing with the people I'm competing with. But when you're competing with Daniel Kaluuya and Ben Kingsley, I mean, the kid who, you know, Eli, and these people who they can do that. That's what I've learned. They can take 12 pages because they've put in so much work. They know themselves so well. It's when they get that read, it's like, oh, when's it due? Oh, sick. All right. I can go and I can do 12 pages, 2 scenes with an accent in a period. And I can do that. That is so I had to learn, like, I had to transition. It's like, yeah, I want to do the work, but at the same time, you have to understand that there are people that can do a better job with less prep.
Yeah.
And it's like,
who are like getting those reps every day because they're on a show and it's just like easy for them.
Or it's like, you know, or it's like my buddy Eli. Like Eli had a different process, but we both needed practice. But it's like he's a trained actor. So he didn't have to he developed his own process based off of the set kind of techniques that we all know. But like me, I didn't really have a process. It's just like, I got to figure out what works for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and I figured that out. And, you know, as much as I would sometimes now love 2-3 days, it's like, they're sitting there like, unless like work is always an excuse. But if you're a working actor, then a casting director is gonna be like, oh yeah, we understand he's working, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not, and you're a series regular and you've done this, and they're looking at your resume and they're like, why can't this guy get this in this time? This guy did. His audition was great. He's up for the role. So it's always levels, and it's just like that is I've learned so much this year, like the biggest learning curve this year. And this business does not get any easier as you go up.
No.
Because, you know
this from Alabama, right? I mean, you can't miss you can't blow a coverage. You got a dude right behind you who's one of the best in the country.
Exactly, bro. Yeah.
Same stuff.
Same stuff, man. Yeah.
100%. Okay. So Caleb, what's happening in your life right now other than NCIS? You said that you had a business meeting. I don't know if you can talk about that. What's happening in your personal life? How is your family? Are you dating anyone? Obviously, that's all we care about.
Oh, the real juiciness.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Yeah.
But you can also
you don't
talk
want somebody
about,
listening to this like, what? He said he didn't say
exactly.
Yeah. Some girls like, but he didn't text me back.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No, but also like you said, you have some business ventures happening. You're obviously very like in touch with your fashion side and the creativity that goes around that. So what's happening in your life?
I would say like there's a lot of moving pieces in my life right now that like I'm trying to figure out like how to fit them together.
With dating, just like a lot of girls you're trying to.
No, with the dating scene, honestly, I'm super like, I don't put a ton of effort into that. Sure. Like really right now, like I haven't put a lot of effort into it because number one, I haven't had the time. And then number two, it's just LA. So it's like a lot of the girls that I meet that I actually job with aren't from LA. Like, so I may have a couple of flight books booked coming up, to go have some visits here and there. But, it's, that part of life for me is not a huge priority.
Sure.
But yeah, I have a company that I'm launching that's kind of an extension of my production company called Young World Changers. And basically, what our company is going to do is it's going to be a platform where like people of all ages and gender and race or whatever can come to this platform and receive like basically what I call just like my dad says this, like, we equip and encourage. Like, I want to equip you for what you feel like you are either missing in life or whatever. And then encourage you to do what, encourage you to do what you were set out to do here and change the world. Right. So that's the type of content we want to develop with that kind of mindset. We're working on kind of getting this, it's not a podcast. It's more so of like the idea was built.
What do you got against podcasts, man?
Yeah, what the heck, Caleb? Why you got tough shit?
Me and my brothers and my dad have a podcast, and
that's probably sick.
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
We loved it. But
if you need a guest,
honestly, y'all come join. But this idea behind this is more so was crafted from the idea. Like growing up, we had big Sunday dinners.
Mm-hmm.
And, we would cook something up, like, something delicious. It could be like your own pizzas or, big salads or, a down home, just like Southern meal, whatever it is. But those were the evenings and nights that really, I would say shaped like, like who I am. Like I just learned so much from those discussions.
100%.
And our house had a revolving door. You never know who would show up at these Sunday discussions.
Yeah,
So
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Nick Saban,
I
like,
know.
where the hell are
Yeah,
you
Nick's
at right
like,
now?
come on,
Exactly.
come home,
Exactly.
come back. You're not supposed to be
You're a
at
bum,
dinner.
Castille.
Yeah, right. In lighter terms, right? But
Yeah.
so right now we're developing this kind of sit down discussion. It's kind of gonna be somewhat that's based around those Sunday sit downs. So
That's awesome.
But yeah, that and covered the dating, covered that, and we go back to work on like July. I'm gonna shoot Wu-Tang in June.
Oh, sick! So you
Coming
got
to
to
New
do it.
Yeah, gonna get to do that. I think I'm only gonna come in for like one episode though.
Okay.
Which, it's
Well, we
fine
can
for
all
me.
hang out. It's fine.
Exactly.
Dude, hit me up if you're in New York, man. I'll follow you after this.
I absolutely will. But other than that, I'm just enjoying this hiatus and trying to fill my day with things that I love to do, because I'm not really accountable to anybody right now outside myself. So I've been biking a lot. I've been biking by the beach. I've been reading all the plays that I have over here that I have not touched in like 8 months.
Amazing.
Having friends over, couldn't do that really while I was filming because I was testing every day. So with COVID.
Wow, right.
Yeah, just like kind of it's life's good. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Life is good. Wow, that's awesome. I think we're going to wrap up our actual interview. So Caleb Castille, thank you so much for being our first guest on our podcast.
Yeah, you're great, man.
You are so
amazing.
fantastic. I don't know how anyone will live up to how charming you are, how open you are, and how much like you feel like one of us. And I'm so grateful. Thank
amazing
you so
athlete,
much.
amazing actor, work ethic through the roof, man.
Yeah, and that's exactly who we are, Amadeo and I. We are amazing athletes.
I played a lot of flag football, all right? I don't want to say
Amadeo is like Amadeo in our like before we talk to you, Amadeo is like, so he played at Alabama because I played in flag football. Do you hear about it?
Amadeo's like, does he think he can stick me?
You can't cover me.
Yeah, right. You can't cover me. Bet you that. Julio Jones.
Yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your beautiful busy schedule to talk to us. Such a fun, oh my God, I'm so charmed by you. Thank you so much.
You guys,
it was great hearing you, man. Great meeting you too.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys honoring me with the opportunity to be the first guest. Yeah. Yes. Boom. Love it, guys.